Welcome to another exciting lesson of Pro Mandarin. Now, I'm sure you've been bummed out studying Chinese thinking, I've been studying Chinese this whole time, nonstop, and I'm still not fluent. Well, today we're going to get you to be able to speak fluently about things that have been happening this whole time, and nonstop, in full complete sentences in Mandarin. But first, you're probably thinking, can I learn all this Chinese in one lesson? Well, let's find out. So let's see. The first phrase we're going to learn here is 一直都. This is such a common phrase. You're going to hear it pretty much in everyday conversation. It's a generalism, like saying always or never, or in this case, the whole time. So for this first section, that's what we're going to talk about is this whole time. And you may have noticed also that the do is in parentheses because it could be left out, but usually it's put in. So what we're going to do here first on the left side is add in some pronouns. If you already know all your pronouns and you feel pretty comfortable with them, go ahead and skip ahead. If not, or you're just learning this the first time, go ahead and stick around. So first we have 我, which means I or me. Then we have 你, which means you. Then we have 他, which means he or him, as well as 她, which means she or her. And then the next part we have is 们, which makes all pronouns plural, such as 我们, which means we or us, 你们, which means you guys, and 他们, which means them or they. All right, welcome back for those that skipped the pronoun section of this lesson. All right, now over on this right side, what we're going to do is we're going to add in the character 在, which has a lot of different meanings, but in this case, it's going to mean something that you're doing at the moment. You're still engaged in it or you haven't stopped doing it. And then the next one is 不停的, which means non-stop or haven't stopped doing something. In this case, particularly, it's very similar to 在. All right, in this right column, we're going to split it up into a couple different sections here. The top one, we're going to have 玩游戏, which means to play games, or it could be to play video games or something like that too. And then 喝酒, which means to drink alcohol. All right, now below we have 吃饭. Now I put 饭in parentheses because you can take 饭 off. Now 吃饭 by itself means to eat food, but as you're going to see here, if we add on 零食, which is snacks, then we're going to leave off 饭, which means to eat food. So we're going to say 吃零食, which means to eat snacks. And instead of saying snacks, we decide to say junk food. We would say 垃圾食品. So 食品 is another way to say food or food products, and 垃圾 is the way to say trash or junk. So 垃圾食品. And then this last word right here, it's kind of a mouthful. You see what I did there? It is 乱七八糟的. Now, it has a lot of different things going on in this meaning. Luan means messy, Chiba is 7, 8, and Zao is something bad. Well, what you're saying here is just eating random things, like just nonstop eating random things or something like that. But in order to make it a full, complete thought, you would actually say 乱七八糟的东西. But what happens is because it's so common that we know it's going to be 东西at the end of the de, we just leave it off. That's what's cool about Chinese. We don't actually have to say everything. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple examples here to get you started, and then I'll get you some practice in so you can figure this stuff out for yourself. So in order to say, I've been playing games this whole time, again, 一直都 can mean always, but in this case, it wouldn't make sense. I always playing games. Instead, we say, I've been playing games this whole time. And the way you'd say that is, 我一直都在玩游戏. 我一直都在玩游戏. And I kind of want you to say it, if you do slow it down, to say it in those chunks if you can. Instead of pronouncing each character all by itself, try to say it in those chunks so that way you get familiar, almost like it's a piece of vocabulary itself. Because war is to play and 游戏 is games, but you're going to typically hear it together a lot. 玩游戏. Or you could say 一直都, but that would be really slow, and typically it's put together all like as if it's in one word. 一直都, 一直都. So 我一直都在, 我一直都在. That's the way that you want to practice this, so that way you can get very familiar with how to say things at a fluent speed, and also being able to have a listening comprehension at a fluent speed as well. Now, as I mentioned, you could leave off do. You could say 我一直在玩游戏, and this sounds perfectly fine actually. This is really common as well. All right, now let me give you one more example real quick. You've been eating food nonstop, or you've been eating food this whole time nonstop. So the way to say that is 你一直都不停地吃饭. So you can see how you can stack some of these things. All right, with that, how would you say they've been eating junk food this whole time? 他们一直都在吃垃圾食品。他们一直都在吃垃圾食品. All right, now how would you say she's been drinking this whole time? 她一直都在喝酒。她一直都在喝酒. Now how about this one? You've been eating a mess of food this whole time, nonstop. 你一直都不停地吃乱七八糟的。你一直都不停地吃乱七八糟的. Now with that, how would you say he's been eating a whole mess of food this whole time? Again, we're going to leave out the nonstop on this one. 他一直都在吃乱七八糟的。他一直都在吃乱七八糟的. All right, now suppose you're with your friends at a party and you're saying, hey, come on, it's time to go, stop drinking. And they say something like, we haven't even been drinking that much. And you go, no, man, you guys have been drinking this whole time. How would you say that last part right there? You guys have been drinking this whole time. 你们一直都在喝酒。你们一直都在喝酒. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next section. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out so I can continue to make quality content like this video. All right, now back to the lesson. All right, welcome back. All right, for this next one, we're going to go ahead and keep it the same meaning here, 你一直都在, as in this whole time, and 不停的, as in non-stop, and we're just going to select between one or the other here. So what we're going to have first is 打扰, which means to bother somebody. Now, this little box over here will be able to fill in with any one of the pronouns like 我, as in 你一直都在打扰我, which means that you've been bothering me this whole time, or 你, as in 打扰你, which is to bother you, okay? And then we're going to have 跟 and then blank again. We're going to fill it in with any one of the pronouns, 讲话. Now 跟 means with, and 讲话is to talk or to talk to. So you've been talking with me this whole time, or something like that, or I've been talking with her this whole time. All right. Then we're going to have 玩球, which means to play ball. And you may have recognized that 玩 was in the previous section for play games, 玩. But in this case, we're going to put 球, which is ball. So it could be anything. It could be playing basketball or tennis or baseball or whatever, except for soccer. In this case, it's 踢球 or 踢足球, but we're just going to say 踢球for this lesson. And then we're going to say 这里, which is here, or you could say 这边 or 这边 as another pronunciation of it, which also means here, or 那里, which is there. And again, you can say 那边 or 那边 as another pronunciation of it. So, but for this lesson, we'll just do 这里 and 那里. And one more little note about 这里 and 那里 is that we're not going to use 不停的 for them. We're only going to use 一直都在 when we're talking about 这里 here or 那里 there. All right, with that, how would you say they've been playing ball nonstop? 他们不停地玩球。他们不停地玩球. All right, cool. Now, how would you say you've been talking with me this whole time? 你一直都在跟我讲话。你一直都在跟我讲话. Now, how would you say she's been talking with you nonstop? 她不停地跟你讲话。她不停地跟你讲话. Now, for this next one, it'll be slightly different. How would you say they've been here this whole time? 他们一直都在这里。他们一直都在这里. Now you notice that 在 is a way to say that something is currently happening. So it has a few different uses. It can be put just before a verb to make it an ing verb, or like as if it's still happening, or it could be used when you're talking about locations of items. So in this case, it's used to talk about locations of items. So now, how would you say you've been bothering me this whole time? 你一直都在打扰我。你一直都在打扰我. Now, change that up a little bit. Let's say you've been bothering me nonstop. How would you say that? 你不停地打扰我。你不停地 打扰我. Now, it might sound like you're a little bit upset because, well, you kinda are if you are saying this anyway. Alright, let's go over a couple more examples before we finish up the lesson. How would you say you guys have been playing soccer this whole time, or you guys have been kicking ball this whole time? 你们一直都在踢球. 你们一直都在踢球. Alright, and then for the last one, how would you say you guys have been there the whole time? 你们一直都在那里. 你们一直都在那里. Now, all of these sentences are a little bit more aggressive, like you've been doing this the whole time, or you've been doing this nonstop, or you've been doing this the whole time nonstop. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not the most friendly way of talking, but you're going to hear people talk like this. You may even talk like this yourself as you get a little more fluent. Now, with that final note, that wraps up today's lesson. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and haven't 点赞 or 订阅 yet, please do so now. Or in other words, please like and subscribe. Also, if you like this video and you feel you need more practice, feel free to rewatch this video as many times as you need. And if you feel ready to move on, then check out the other videos on this channel as well. I promise you'll be speaking Mandarin fluently in no time. And until next time, 下次见.